I gotta get this in. So now you have a similar thing, you have I again. So what's the other factor here? If it would be 5 plus I, because it's 5, those come from 5 plus or minus I. Two solutions. I've been emphasizing that and emphasizing that. Right? So this is x equals 5 plus I. So you do the same thing. Right? And then you bring this over right there. You bring this whole thing over by subtracting it. So you get x minus the whole thing. Right? And then you bring this whole thing over by subtracting it. So you have x minus the whole thing. Okay? You're going to look at that and be a little intimidated, but watch what happens. So this is x minus, so these three things are what? These are the three factors of the polynomial. All right, so you have x minus 5 minus I, and you have x minus 5 plus I. Okay, now if I have time, I'll go to another page and show it. If not, I'll do it in class. But what you want to do with this is just associative property. I want to regroup this way because I don't want to mess with a binomial with I, a complex number. Sorry there. All right, so this is what I want to do. You want to regroup this and then FOIL this whole thing. So x minus 5 times x minus 5 is x minus 5 squared. Then x minus 5 times I is plus I x minus 5. Then negative I times x minus 5, negative I times x minus 5, and then negative I times positive I is negative I squared. All right, what happens here? Again, these are complex conjugates. It's a thing minus I and a thing plus I. So this cancels out to 0. And I squared is negative 1. So negative 1 is plus 1. So what do you really end up having here? You end up having that's plus 1, and x minus 5 squared is x minus 5 times x minus 5 plus 1. So x squared minus 5x minus 5x, x squared minus 10x, negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25, plus 1 is plus 26. I think I already have that there. So plus 26. So again, then what? Distribute.
Amanda Ball, please come to the main office.
And you have all 6 terms, combined like terms, that's there. Negative 10x squared plus x squared is negative 9x squared, plus 26x minus 10x is 16x, plus 26, plus 26. You distribute it and combine like terms. So this is the least degree polynomial. It's a third degree polynomial with a leading coefficient of 1. So with this video, your homework is page 363, number 13 and number 15. And then the group classwork will be page 363, number 39, 41, and 43. Okay, and I'm over my 15 minutes, so I'm gonna go back to this and show you this. Why did I regroup? Okay, remember here, what I did here was regroup the parentheses. That's just associative property that you learn in elementary school. Why did I do that? Okay, If you didn't do that, and you try to group it this way and and FOIL it, you get x times x is x squared. Then you get x times negative 5 plus I, so it'll be negative x 5 plus I, and then you do negative 5 minus I times x, and then you'd have negative x 5 minus I, and then you'd have negative times negative 5 minus I times 5 plus I. Negative times negative is positive, and then you'd have 5 minus I times 5 plus I. Right? What is this not in the middle? This is not like terms that cancel. These are both negative. The parentheses are not the same. And then what would you have to do here? You'd have to FOIL this. You would still end up at the same place we already ended up at, but that's a much, much, much more complicated way to do it. I was going to show it another different way, but I'm going to not do that and say, okay, so let's go back to this and try to re-emphasize this. When you get to this point, you have your zeros here, 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 here. Then you figure out this one, you have your zeros, and then you make them factors, right? So by bringing them over, when you get here, you regroup associative property to have I by itself. You regroup with the associative property to have I by itself, and then you distribute this as a whole thing to this as a whole thing, and you distribute